Clint Dubanetsky, Managing Director of Orpheus Uranium here with you today, and really excited to work through our 2025 exploration results and provide you a bit of an overview of what we've been doing for the year, what we've managed to achieve, and where we're moving towards next year. So with that, I'll give you the typical disclaimer. There's obviously forward-looking statements as we look towards next year, but also, again, reflecting on this year. So what a big year it's been for Orpheus Uranium. Hard to believe that we're sitting here 12 months ago and the position that we're in compared to now. We've had a really exciting 12 months. We've managed to develop a really good, technically intelligent team over this period of time, bringing on 3 new staff, all of them having uranium experience at Australia's premier in-situ recovery operation, the Beverley 4 Mile operation. So we're really happy to have them on board, and they bring a lot of value in terms of the way that they're looking at the different projects that we've got. With that, excitingly, we've brought in a couple of really good projects into the pipeline that we see fitting right in with the existing tenure that we had at this time last year. The Pirrie Basin, for those that have been following us throughout the year, was a really key acquisition in the April period. So Pirrie Basin's a project that has a lot of geological synergy with Alligator Energy's Samphire deposit, held within the Pirrie Basin, as the name would say, and has all the right ingredients for mineralisation, and we'll look at that in a bit more detail. With that, we've worked through and established 3 native title mining agreements, or NTMAs, for exploration. These are pivotal in us being able to get on the ground, obtain regulatory approval and undertake drilling. So really, really key to work through and quite a lot of a process. And really within that, we identify the landmark NTMA with ATLA. This is a group that's been in administration for 5 years. Orpheus took a step back. We had a look at a pathway through, established a pathway with all the key stakeholders, and we were rewarded in conjunction with a number of other companies. We continue to look at strategic development of the portfolio, extending into Western Australia. Whilst we'd developed a portfolio based on the South Australian Northern Territory, we saw this as a great opportunity to bring on a high-level project that actually brings the potential to put an exploration target out with the historical drilling. Some really good intersects historically, and typically with a lot of our projects, leveraging off the internal knowledge that we have to extract value from historical projects that have been left for various reasons, most notably a lot of the market conditions related with uranium, as we're well aware of. Continuing development of Northern Territory, unconformity style deposit up there at Mount Douglas. So this has just been a good systematic exploration program that we've been continuing along in the background and are putting ourselves in a position, as with all of the projects, to have drill ready or decision to drill targets throughout our portfolio. So where do we go in 2026 from here? So all this groundwork's actually been putting us in a really good position as we work through and look to obtain regulatory approvals for drilling on all of our projects. Notably with the Frome, Pirrie Basin and Radium Hill South, the work that's gone in 2025 is moving us very close to that decision to drill timeline. We're advancing the Mount Douglas project, again, in the similar situation where we're reaching a decision to drill. We want to work through, complete the Ubaguma agreement or sale agreement. That'll give us the opportunity to bring a lot of that data internally, remodel it, rework it, use those internal expertise that I've spoken about previously, as well as looking at how we can gain land access out here and navigate through getting access to the tenure and trying to extract as much value as we can from that. We're continuing to refine the portfolio, and we're always looking at increasing our value of projects and providing us the right opportunity as a business to be able to put ourselves in a position for either discovery or through growth or reward from a solid portfolio or a highly valued portfolio that's recognised as the uranium spot price increases. You'll hear me talk about decision to drill. This is a really interesting position that we put ourselves in as a business. As opposed to having a single asset that we're forced to drill, what we're really trying to work towards here is have the opportunity to drill where we think we want to drill or where we identify has the highest prospectivity. We have multiple projects that have higher quality geological targets within them. And within those projects, we have multiple prospects that require testing. So setting ourselves up to have continuous workflows and continuous ability to attempt to identify economic mineralisation or intersect mineralisation is really important for us as a business. So in the project pipeline, looking quite healthy. We're seeing a lot of that greenfield exploration balanced out with what we call advanced exploration. The advanced exploration are these projects that we have that have higher quality historical data sets that hone us in, effectively giving us 2 to 3 years, even maybe up to 5 years worth of exploration through that historical data sets. Most notably with these historical data sets, it's not because there hasn't been any mineralization there necessarily that they've been walked away from. It's been the market conditions for uranium, or even the global market conditions, the economic conditions. We talk about it a lot with the periodic cycle of uranium. These tenements get tested 70s, in the 2000s, and now we're looking at testing them today. So leveraging off a lot of that historical data based upon when uranium exploration has occurred, not because there's nothing there, but more so because they've been providing the foundations and they would have continued exploration if market conditions hadn't been correct, for which we're in the correct market conditions now to continue that evolution of those tenements. South Australia, we see some really good in situ recovery or sedimentary style exploration targets out here. The Piri Basins, adjacent to Samphire, Alligator Energy Samphire, 18 million pound uranium deposit. So we've got a lot of geological synergy there. If we can match what they've been working on, then we really see our ability to extract value from that tenement quite quickly. Similarly, with the Frome project, for those that have been following us for a period of time, well aware of this. This shares geological synergy with Gould's Dam, Boss Energy's Gould's Dam, which is a 25 million pound deposit, and also in the right setting, the same geological setting as 4 Mile, as Honeymoon, as known and producing deposits in South Australia. Radium Hill is a really interesting one, and providing a really solid base given the location. It's adjacent to the Radium Hill uranium fields, which produced 2.6 million pounds of uranium. And we see that as a potential source for this particular area. So really interesting target area. In addition to this, the areas that we're exploring are proximal to deposits that are getting approval or working through the approvals process for production. So if we do have success, we see that as being beneficial, that we're coming through the steps after these companies have worked to establish themselves. In more detail, Piri Basin, 40 kilometres of strike length of the highly fertile Piri Basin sediments, underlain by really good source rock in terms of the Hilltop Sweet granites. And as we've touched on before, adjacent to Alligator Energy's Samphire uranium deposit. The Piri Basin, interestingly, is one of the only 2 basins in South Australia that's either got producing or working towards producing deposits. So a really good place to be when we start to look at our portfolio. With this particular tenement, we're progressing it towards a transfer. So it's a regulatory requirement that as we purchase a tenement, we progress this to transfer, and we're just awaiting for that to come through shortly. Once we've got that transferred, then we can start to get on the ground and start to undertake exploration activities. In the interim, we're looking at beginning our stakeholder engagement. We recognise that's important in this part of the world, that if we can start to work with key stakeholders, the landholders, the community, then as we get that tenement transferred, we're already ahead of where we could be if we just waited. So really exciting times. We're really looking forward to getting out here. Some really great walk-up targets for us to start testing this particular project with. We move over to Frome, and this has got over 50 kilometres of strike length of the fertile Namba and air formation sediments that are known to host the 25 million pound Gould's Dam uranium deposit adjacent to us. With this project, same as all of our projects, it's got the mechanisms for uranium mineralisation in terms of source, transport, trap, with evidence of up to or greater than 1500 ppm in historical drilling. So really showing that we've got the right conditions for potential mineralisation at this particular project. As noted previously, 2025 provided a really good opportunity for us to springboard forward on this project with the landmark NTMA being established. This allows regulatory approvals. We completed a heritage clearance in 2024. We'll continue to look at heritage clearances as we refine the interpretation. The areas that we have now are quite sufficient, but we're always wanting to make sure that we're refining and putting ourselves in the best position for success. With this ongoing engagement with all key stakeholders, everybody from the government, the regulatory approvals, landholders, traditional owners. So we're expecting to gain our regulatory approvals imminently with regards to the PEPR. Once we have that PEPR, that puts us in the position for decision to drill, as we've spoken about earlier. We move on to Radium Hill South here. And again, another exciting project in South Australia. Sedimentary style uranium we're searching for, located proximal to the Radium Hill uranium fields, historically producing 2.6 million pounds at 1,300 ppm EU308 or U308. Again, all the mechanisms here. We've got a source, rock in terms of either the Radium Hill or some of the underlying granites, the transport mechanisms in terms of the sediments that are shedding off into our tenement area, and the traps, the geochemical traps that we talk about in terms of the reductants within these sediments. An exciting year out here with Radium Hill, established the NTMA with the Williakali, and actually managed to get out and do a heritage clearance on the ground. So opening up a couple of our key areas along with some regional targets for advanced stage exploration. And more recently, we did achieve a PEPR, or Program for Environmental Rehabilitation Program, putting us in a position again for a decision to drill on this particular project. The Maree project's a really interesting one. This is a really early stage exploration project, however, it's to the northwest of the Flinders Ranges, including the Mount Plainter block. So Mount Plainter block is one of the most uraniferous block or surface exposures in Australia, if not the world. So if we can link some connectivity between our tenements and the potential source rocks in this particular area through undertaking on-ground exploration, we put ourselves in the right position to extract value from this tenement and have a look at refining drill-ready target areas. We actually established NTMA with this particular project this year, both with the aforementioned Frome NTMA, but also with the Deary, so we can have a look at this particular area. And we look at the green and the blue in the map, and our NTMA approvals extend for quite a portion of this tenement. Here, again, it's early stage exploration, so we've got ongoing geological modelling within the tenement and surrounds to try to refine our ongoing exploration activities. Most likely some preliminary geophysics or some on-ground exploration, potentially followed up by drilling, or at least getting to that decision to drill stage, especially given that we have the NTMAs. Again, we have to work through the regulatory processes here before we get out and undertake exploration or advanced stage exploration. So we'll look at how that fits in with all of our other projects. Northern Territory, looking for unconformity or vein cell mineralisation. So high grade, but very small footprints, but really exciting when you start to get on one of these kind of deposits. So for us, it's a Pine Creek origin. It's Australia's economic unconformity style systems. There's been significant regional deposits discovered, and really interesting for us, especially in the Mount Douglas area, the recent work or the relatively recent discovery of Thunderball back in the 2000s and the follow-up work that's been done on that recently by Petronas. With that, there's evidence that Mount Douglas of superficial anomalies up to 750 ppm adjacent to the Cambolgi sandstone. Importantly, in this type of deposit, the Cambolgi sandstone represents the overlying sandstone for an unconformity style deposit. So a good target area to begin with that in this particular deposit or in this particular project. As touched on, there's a lot of geological synergy with the Thunderball unconformity style deposit that Petronas has been working on more recently and actually put out some really interesting results over the last few weeks. That would be that we will look at and see how that feeds into our exploration models. This year, we've undergone acquisition of high resolution NTGS co-funded gravity data, and this complemented the 2024 survey that the NTGS government did. Really interestingly with this, and importantly with this, we were co-funded for this follow-up gravity work, and it really shows the interest that the Northern Territory Geological Survey has in this particular area, and also the support that we're getting to actually look at developing a high-quality potential unconformity style target. We completed a heritage survey out in this over areas of interest. We've got ongoing engagement with traditional owners, and we will continue this process as required and is the right thing to do throughout exploration activities on Mount Douglas. And last year we did achieve an MMP, a mining management plan approval for this particular project. So really undertaking systematic exploration, looking at continuing to process the gravity information that we have to date to push back out and refine targets further, and get on the ground and look at doing some further follow-up exploration to define the drill targets. Notably, we were impacted by the cyclone and wet season, so didn't quite achieve all of the on-ground work that we wanted to this field season, but we'll be looking at getting out there as time permits in 2026. We come to Western Australia, and again, an interesting location to be. We started to have a look as a business, took the step back and said, we've got some really good in situ or sedimentary style geologists within the team. We've got some really good exploration projects within the business. And what else is out there that we could look at acquiring to fit into that portfolio that we could extract value from for our shareholders with the team and the portfolio that we have? And Ubaguma really stood out. It's got limited contemporary exploration. It was discovered in 1980s by Afmico, or now Orano, a branch of Orano, and drilling is limited to 1983. The geological setting has source, transport, trap. You'll hear me talk about that quite a lot. So really indicative of the potential for a large-scale mineralisation out here, which is evident from the significant historical intersects greater than 1,000 ppm that have been, or even GTs greater than 1,000 ppm per metre that were intersected in that initial drilling by Afmico back in the day. At the moment, we're waiting for the sale agreement to be completed, but we'll start to work on some more detailed revision of geological and mineralising models out in this particular area, as well as working our way through for land access agreements and how we can progress this particular tenement to extract value from. But a really exciting opportunity for a project that has known significant mineralisation there for us to be able to continue to develop. Board and management, look, I'll leave you to read through this in a bit more detail, but throughout the year we did restructure the board, myself as managing director, Simon as chairman, and Todd as non-executive director, all with uranium experience, which is really important in the company at the moment and the way that we're working. Further to this, I talk about our exploration team, and this is more important than anything, I think. It comes in with the portfolio that we have and the ability to be able to actually effectively explore that portfolio. We've really developed a good team with a lot of uranium experience that's coming in, which is quite unique. As we talked about, uranium exploration is generational, and so to have a good young group of people that have been working from everything from greenfields exploration through to production and in between, including resource development, puts us in the right position to look at the data that's coming in, manage the data that's coming in, and make the most effective choices and decisions as we move through and look to explore these projects. So a really good team in who we've got here. From a corporate standpoint, we've worked through the year and try to consolidate as much of the spending as we can, focused on development of the portfolio, which is evident through the Piri Basin and the Ubaguma acquisition, as well as continuing to develop access to the key projects that we've got that I've touched on here. So I'd like to thank you for taking the time out today to listen to what we've got to say. I think a really good 2025, really positioning ourselves for 2026 through development of the portfolio, allowing ourselves to be drill ready, and also looking at what other opportunities are out there to bring in that we can extract value from with that core team that we have that have uranium expertise. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a good day.